Now, if you are serious about growing your practice, we release videos just like this every week, so make sure you click that subscribe button and I will see you in the video. Today, we're covering how to grow from 10 to 30K a month in your practice while being fully booked. So let's get into it. What are the 3 things that I feel you need to be able to go from 10 to 30K in practice? Well, the biggest difference between 10K in practice and 30K is the scale of the operation. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are 3 times bigger in terms of how much staff you have or anything like that. It just means that you're running a more efficient ship in terms of revenue production, because ultimately we are in business, and business is an exchange. I create value and you give me currency. A successful business is one that generates a lot of currency and helps a lot of people, because it becomes this flywheel. The more I'm able to help my people and run the business smoothly, means that I'm going to be able to produce more currency, which I can then reinvest back into the business to help it to continue to grow. So let's get into it. There are 3 fundamentals that you need covered. The first is profit, the second is processes, and the third is people. Without being able to draw effective profit from your business, there's no way for you to invest into systems and ultimately people. Once you're generating good profit, you then need to be able to have the good processes so that the business operations become more scalable and you're able to then hire people. Because if you don't have the right processes, you can't have people, because it won't work. It just won't work. You can't hire people if you don't have processes, because then you're basically hiring a bunch of individuals and it's a group practice, and group practices don't scale as well because everybody's doing whatever they want to do. Without processes, your people won't know what to do. They won't know how to do it. There won't be a measure of success. And the more people you add, the more problems you'll add, because you don't have processes. So processes are super important. Let's start with profit. All right. Profit is your revenue minus your expenses. Fundamentally, in a healthcare business, there are only 2 ways to really grow your revenue and grow your profit. The first is new clients, and the second is value of your clients. If you get 1,000 new clients, but they only spend $1, you're gonna make $1,000. That's it. You're capped out, right? If you bring in 1 client and they're worth $5,000, I just made more money than you, even though I have 999 less clients than you. Because new clients is only one piece of the puzzle, and most of us emphasize it far too much, and we don't realize that actually there are other things that you can do to make way more money, have way more growth, than constantly focusing on getting new clients. So when you look at the value of your client, it's broken down into the transaction amount, how much you charge, and then how many times you resell that person. In our case, we might charge $50 for a treatment session, and then our treatment plan, our care plan, is how many times we resell that thing. In healthcare, the advantage we have is we're not transactional, or at least we shouldn't be. Too many of you are transactional, and my whole mission in life at the moment is to get everybody to sell programs, because not only do you get better results for your clients, there's more consistency in your business, there's more consistency for your staff, your practitioners, yourself. It's easier, it's more scalable, you get cash up front, you get more commitment. Everything changes when you have programs. So if you can get your clients to come back more, that influences the lifetime value of your client. Now, from a healthcare perspective, what does that mean? Because some of you might think, well, I don't just want to, tell people to come back and they don't need it and charge extra money and blah, blah, blah. I want to be affordable. What you need to understand, and most of my clients who do, well, I'd say all of my clients that do very, very well, are what I would call corrective care clinics. Okay. They are there to fix underlying issues and improve the function of that person's body and improve their quality of life, not just manage a symptom. And if you're doing corrective care, so whether that's functional medicine, nutrition, chiropractic, massage, it doesn't matter. You're not just dealing with symptoms, but dealing with their quality of life and their function. Then your job is to develop a program of care that's going to maximize the results you get for people with consistency, high likelihood of success, simplicity, and get people to commit to that. Because what stops most people getting results in your practice is not following through. Not because you're not good enough at what you do, it's because they don't follow through. Everyone knows that if you lift weights, you'll build strength. How many people want to have a 6-pack, but just don't go to the gym enough and don't stop eating Doritos? right? We know the gym works, but we don't follow through. That's why we don't have a six-pack. Now, assuming the person wants a six-pack, and the reason they're not getting it is not because the gym doesn't have the right equipment, it's because the person didn't follow through. So our job is to get our clients to follow through. And the best way to do that is have a pre-prescribed program of care that can predictably produce results. Now, the benefit to that is clients follow through, they get better results. It's easier, there's more consistency, like I said, and you generate more guaranteeable income for yourself, which allows you to reinvest further. So every client you bring in is suddenly more valuable to your practice. You've broken out of this per session transactional care, which means that you can guarantee more revenue. It's easier to run the business. It's easier to create processes around, because when you're doing one-to-one, session-to-session, customized care, right? First of all, my opinion is that doesn't actually benefit most clients, because most people don't need fancy. They just need to commit, right? I don't need a fancy exercise program. I just need to exercise to get fit. And then once I'm starting to get fit, I can then start to be more fancy. When you have a program, it's easier to create processes. And when you have processes, it's easier to hire and train people to see clients on your behalf under your methodology, which means your business becomes more scalable. Is this making sense? You see how these things link together, right? So profit equals new clients and lifetime value per client. The second thing is you need to have a premium program where you're packaging together the best of what you do to be able to present the best opportunity for your client, especially if you're like me and the majority of my clients who are corrective care practices. You're fixing underlying issues to improve function and quality of life, not just managing symptoms. And then obviously marketing. Marketing is very straightforward. The thing with marketing is that everything works. It's just what you commit to doing and commit to mastering. You can get new clients from TikTok. I'm not going to show you how, because I don't think it's the most efficient way, but you can. You can get clients from Facebook. You can get clients from running events and webinars and writing books and speaking. You can get clients from pretty much anything. It's just what you're willing to focus on mastering. Now, there's a few things that we teach inside our Patience and Profit program, which you can just plug and play. We basically build it for you and then you just implement it. But for the point of this exercise, for everyone who's not a client, everything works. You just got to master it. We can show you how to master the things that we think work the best and the stuff that we've pre-built for you. But fundamentally, it's just still about mastery. Once you're generating enough profit, you now have the capacity and space to start focusing on the business. Like, let's say I'm spending 50 hours a week and I'm making 10 grand a month. If I want to make 30 grand a month, I can't spend 150 hours a week because I'll break. So how do I go from 10 to 30 if I'm already maxed out? Well, if you're generating more profit, you can take that and buy your own time back. The first people you buy, because I like to think about it in terms of transactions. I'm buying time, right? The first hours that I'm buying are my own. I'm making 10 grand a month. I do everything James says about the profitability. I'm now making 13 grand a month. Cool. I can go and buy 30% of my time back. Why? Because I will make the same money, but work 30% less. Now I'm working 30% less in the business. What I choose to then spend that time on is up to me. So if I'm working 50 hours a week, I can knock it down to 35 hours a week. What could I do with 15 extra hours a week? Well, I could go and live my life, or I could focus on processes to work 40% less, because now I'm even more efficient. Maybe I start developing processes around my front desk, how I call new patients, how I rebook them. I can build programs. I can spend time making the business a business instead of just this hustle practice that we currently have at 10K a month. When I have processes, my revenue potential goes up. I'm able to spend less time working with clients because I have more efficiency. I'm able to spend less time constantly sending people stuff because I now have membership sites and I have automations that send people things, and I'm able to minimize all of those sorts of things because the business is now able to run more smoothly with the processes. I'll need less new clients because I'm retaining them better. So I'm full without having so many people. So now maybe I'm making 14K or 15K a month if I was working the same number of hours, but now I choose to work 50% less, 40% less, right? So now I have more time and I can work on hiring people to do even more of the things that I want to do. So maybe I hire a front desk person. So now I don't have to take payments and make bookings. Now I have even more time to see clients or work on the business. Maybe I can then focus on hiring a virtual assistant to do a bunch of administration for me. Maybe they can check my emails. They can respond to people who are texting and calling us. They can contact my leads for me. People allow you to expand the amount of hours that you have available to work on or in the business. So to go from 10 to 15K a month, focusing on profitability. To go from 15 to 20, processes and profitability. To go from 20 to 30, becomes processes and people. This will vary depending on what you do. The first hires that you get need to be things that improve your efficiency so that you can generate more revenue. Because to pay a front desk staff might be $15, $20, $25 an hour. If you hire a practitioner to see more clients, you're going to give half of your revenue to that person. So instead of you taking a new client, you're going to give it to them, and then you're going to, let's say, only get half of that back. That's more expensive than paying a front desk person and then you seeing more clients. So again, depending on what you do, your first hire probably should be someone at the front desk so that you can be more efficient, so that you don't have to give up clients. Because the biggest issue I see people make is they hire associates expecting to be able to grow their business. It's like, I'm going to get a contractor who's going to see patients. I'm going to make so much money. And then they don't realize that actually that practitioner isn't the best. It's probably why they're working for you and not growing their own. They need a whole lot of hand-holding and coaching. They don't retain people very well. You don't have enough marketing in place or good enough processes, which means that you're giving them your clients, and now you're getting 50% of revenue that you could have otherwise brought in 100% of. And so the whole thing implodes because you're spending more time, more energy, you have less focus, and they're taking half your revenue from the people that you give them. So you have to first be maxed out yourself and have some processes in place, have some people to assist you, then you bring in an associate. Instead of tipping out of your cup into theirs, the overflow from your cup is going to them. And if you have the right marketing in place that got you to be more profitable and the right processes of that, then you can just scale it up. So the clinics that we've grown very, very quickly, the reason they grew so much was because they had capacity to do so. Either because they had like ability to generate new clients, they had good processes and capacity for revenue per client, or they had associates that weren't doing very well and they came in and tweaked a couple things and then their business exploded. Because once I showed them either profit, processes, or people, things went up a notch. If you have a bunch of associates, you've got heaps of new clients, but they're not retaining well, we'll show you processes for your people so that they can retain and have higher value and you'll generate more income. If you have, if you're fully booked yourself, then we'll show you the processes to hire the people so they can see the clients, the overflow from you, right? If you've got enough marketing. If you're full but don't have enough marketing, you can't hire anybody because you can't fill them up. We'll show you how to get a copious amount of new clients so that you can then fill up an associate that you bring in once you have the processes in place. But fundamentally, all of you, if you were to go through our 6 cash flow plays that we have inside our Patience and Profit program, you would be able to add $3,000 to $5,000 a month pretty much overnight by just implementing those things properly. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you're serious about growing your healthcare business, then check out these other couple videos that we've got here for you. And make sure that you hit the like button, leave us a comment and subscribe. And I've gone ahead and created some special bonuses for you. So check the description of this video for those links, and I will see you in the next video.